Today I'm going to show you how to make this card using the stamp set Truly Grateful from the Stampin' Up! Holiday Catalog. So to get started, the first thing I'm going to do is take this image from the stamp set with crumb cake ink, and I'm going to ink it up on here and then stamp across the bottom of this piece of vanilla cardstock. This is just a scrap. I'm going to ink it up again and just do my best to line up the edges. With the style of this stamp set, you'll see that it doesn't matter. I overlapped a little bit there and it just looks like part of the pattern. So it's some easy stress-free stamping when you line that up. So then I will take my 2.5-inch circle punch and put this right over the stamped image and pop out that circle. I pre-cut using the window frames framelets, one of these pieces out of crumb cake, and I'm going to use the festive paper piercing template and line that up. Hopefully you can see there's different black lines on here that correspond with the framelets, and I'm just lining that up right over the edge of my cardstock. And then I'm just going to pierce each of these holes. Now there's a lot of them on here, and you might not want to take the time to do that, which is absolutely fine. It does go pretty quickly. You just need to puncture in those holes. You don't need to, go way down into the cardstock with the tool. Okay, so now I will take this piece that I stamped and punched, put some snail adhesive on the back of it, and layer it right on top of the window frame. So put that on there. I already also used the wood grain embossing folder on this piece. This one is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and it's going to layer on our card. Now this is 11 by 4 1/4, and I don't see my bone folder, but I have my scoring tool from my envelope board, so I'll just use that. This piece is going to fit as a layer on here. Because it's embossed, I use more adhesive than I normally would. Usually I tell you just to go in the corners, but when I have an embossed layer, there's less surface that's connecting with the adhesive, and so I use just a little bit more. So this piece will layer right on top like that. And then before I add this, which will be our focal point, I want to add some of our new burlap. So I'm going to just kind of set it on here, just so I can kind of get an approximate length, and I'll cut that. To cut this burlap, I'm just going to kind of fold it together gently here, and then just take my scissor up like that, and that'll give you a nice V. Now, to put this on the card, I'm going to use a stronger adhesive than that snail that I typically use. This is the Tombow multi-purpose glue, and I'm going to just run some along the back of this piece of burlap. That should do it. And then I'll set this in place on the card. And you would want to hold it just briefly to make sure it sticks. Once it dries, it's a very, very strong adhesive, but I just want to make sure it's stuck and in place on there. So the next thing I'll do is take some Stampin' Dimensionals. I'll put one in each corner here, and then it'll kind of stick onto the card around the burlap. So go like this and peel these off. And then we'll attach that right over like this. This piece is 3 1/4 inches by 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to take my chocolate chip ink and the stamp that says Thankful For, that's part of this set, and just stamp that in the middle. And then I'm going to use my scissors to notch each of the ends of this cardstock. So I'm just going to take and make a cut up here, and then go from the corner up and the corner up. Same thing on this side. When I do it this way, it just helps me balance the two edges, because otherwise I would start like with that cut, and then go over here, and then it wouldn't be even, and I would keep cutting, and pretty soon my piece would be very, very tiny. I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals on the back of this, and add that to my card. So the very last thing I'm going to do is add some of our basic pearls. The tool that I use to pierce the paper, I can also use for the pearls. I want to make sure I get under the pearl to pick up the adhesive. If it sticks to the tool, you know you've got the adhesive for sure. And then it's really easy to attach to the project. So quick and easy, lots of texture on this card with the wood grain and the burlap. The dots, even though it took a little while to do the dots, they really add a lot to the card. Thanks so much for watching. For daily creative inspiration, visit my blog or find me on Facebook at Jodi Reinert Stamps.